What's up, Scrappy peeps? It's Del from Inkie Quill, and I'm over on the Cocoa Vanilla blog today with a challenge that is geometric. So I will admit I was a little bit stuck with this challenge. I guess I do geometric elements, but I'm a very much more flowy kind of person. So I've got these two photos of Arch, and not only am I tackling geometric, which I'm not completely comfortable with, I'm also tackling lime green. So it was a bit of a double whammy today. Today's layout actually took a path that I didn't expect. It turned into a double page layout, so I hope you enjoy this video. It's a little bit extra long, and we actually make two layouts today because I wasn't happy with, you'll see what I mean. There wasn't enough space to do the geometric part that I wanted to do on the first one. So I've decided to make my own kind of background pieces, background embellishments. And I'm cutting a bunch of squares that are 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch, and I'm going to make these cool little triangle, they're diamond shaped tiles, I guess you could call them. But first of all, I'm just matting my photos on some of the papers from the awesome Boys Rule collection. And if you want to play along with the challenge at home, you can use any Cocoa Vanilla collection that you've got. I have just been on a real Boys Rule kind of binge, I guess, at the moment. And so I've been using it quite a lot. There'll be a few videos coming up over the next few months using it. And head over to the Cocoa Vanilla studio community and see what other people are playing along with, because geometric, I guess, first of all, I kind of wish that I'd had a cut file. I think this would have been really fun to do some sort of amazing like tessellation type cut file in the background. That would have been really fun. And I decided to kind of make my own pattern. But my problem was I'm doing both of these layouts are 8.5 by 11, and if you've done that size before, you'll know that it's not that large. You don't have a lot of space to play with, especially if you're doing multiple photo layouts, which both of these are. And so by the time I had matted my photos and I'd stuck them together so that they slightly overlapped, there wasn't enough room to see the tiles in the background that I had made, which you'll see in a moment. So to tie these two together, I have matted one of them on more papers, but I've matted them both on that dark brown wood grain at the back so that I feel like one piece, even though they're very off-centered. They do feel like one piece. So what I'm doing now is I'm using a 1 inch scalloped circle and a 1 inch normal circle, and I'm just punching out a whole heap of shapes that I'm going to use to make these little tiles. And I don't make you sit and watch me make all of them. I make one of them on camera and then I make the rest off camera, because they did take me quite a while. And I remember the day that I filmed this, it was the first video of the day, and I had a whole Archie free day, so I was trying to film 5 or 6 videos in one day. And typically I seem to always start with the most complicated videos possible, and Aaron can attest to this. I don't know what it is, but I start off and I just want to make all of the tricky things, which is what this layout turned out to be. So you can see each piece, I'm just attaching a circle to the middle and then cutting some of those squares in half and adding a triangle to the bottom. So I've added some doodly borders, and here they all are, and I love the way they looked. It was something that I wasn't expecting to like so much, and even with that lime green in there, I really do like them. But I decided with that first layout, you'd only be able to see about 4 of the tiles, and because I didn't want them to cover the whole background. So in the end, I actually decided to do some watercolor in the background of both of these pages. And on the first layout, this one, I used some texture paste and a geometric stencil to get my geometric bit in, and then I use the tiles on the second layout. So I'm just adding a few splatters here and there using my Winsor & Newton watercolors, and I've gone for kind of a bluey emerald green background because I think those colors make the rest of the layout pop a little bit. I'm going to pop that to the side to dry and then work on this next one, which is a very, very similar background. And I think that's a great thing if you do work with double pages and mixed media. It's really easy to make two pages look like they belong together by doing the same mixed media technique or the same colors in the background. And it's really nice to have that ability with paints to be a bit flexible in case maybe you only have one paper and you're trying to make it stretch across two layouts. You can then use a white cardstock background and then use that one favorite paper that you want to use on both pages instead for layering or for embellishments or something like that. So I'm just using some Faber-Castell whipped spackle, and I'm just pushing that through a Tim Holtz hexagony type pattern. This pattern always reminds me of tiles, because I'm pretty sure my grandma may have used to have these tiles in her bathroom, or someone's house I used to go to a lot as a child had those tiles in their bathroom. Now I'm just using a newsprint background stamp from my stash and some blue ink, and just to add a little bit of extra detail, and so that texture paste didn't look like it was just plonked on top and didn't belong. I'm using glue to glue down my photos just because of that texture paste. I never trust it. It's not trustworthy. I've been burned too many times to trust it, and we don't have a great adhesive relationship together. And so I would always suggest using wet glue when you're sticking things down onto mixed media, whether that's something you've gessoed or if it's acrylic paint or stencil. If you're just using like ink through a blend on a blending tool through a stencil, you should be right, but anything that's slightly raised, definitely use wet glue, because you may find that your things start to fall off your page way quicker than you expected. So here, I know I'm reaching for the green star. The only reason why I'm doing this, and the reason why I picked these photos, is because Archie had this. If you watch our vlog channel, Mr. and Mrs Rad, you will have known about this little walker that Archie loved. He's gotten too big for it now, but it was a little like walker on wheels, and the only color available was fluoro, like lime green, so bright. And as soon as we bought it, I kind of dreaded photos, because I knew I would just have to scrap some of him in there because he just looked so cute. And I did kind of dread a little bit of how I was going to make that lime green work. But in the end, this collection's good because it's got little touches of lime green where I can just put a snippet of it in, but not have to dedicate myself to a whole background page. I'm not there yet. I'm small steps in the lime green department. If you're new to my channel and don't know what I'm talking about, I really struggle with lime green. It's a color that I don't get along well with. And when it comes to creating stuff, I'm not saying it's a bad color. I find it really difficult to work with. And so it's trying to be brave and do little snippets of it in my layouts. So here I'm just adding a various embellishments. I've got some of this tiny word stickers from the sticker sheet. I've got some of the clear tiny word stickers from the clear sheet. And then I felt down the bottom I just needed a little bit of handwritten something. And so I'm just doing a little bit of writing here, very basic journaling. I'm pretty sure I've journaled about this on a separate layout, so I didn't really need to go into too much detail. And then just adding a final little sticker here, and then and a label, because we can't have enough labels, can we? I also added this little LOL because his little potato head in that photo is just he looks so cute and round. Time for some Heidi Shine, and shake your Heidi Shine, shake your Heidi Shine. And adding a little bit of gold here and there. If you're new, this is not a good video to tune into, because you're not going to know why I just broke out into random song either. These next photos are of Archie with Aaron's cap on. Aaron loves to wear flat brimmed baseball caps. He's rather picky about his baseball caps, and we don't call them baseball caps over here, but they're just hats. They're just caps, I guess. And he likes the ones that at the back of the hat, how they've got like a snap closure, like a, so you can make it bigger or smaller. He hates that because Aaron has extremely coarse, thick hair. It's about the consistency of a toilet brush. That's what his brothers and stepdad like to call him. And it's so thick. And so when he wears caps that have one of the snapback closures, he gets like a little ponytail that pokes out the back of the cap. And so he's always on the hunt for hats that don't have that bit. So if you like to wear caps, or your significant other does, or you've got kids that like to wear caps, and you have a good online source for caps that don't have those snapbacks, they're just flat at the back, let me know in the comments, because he's forever on the hunt for more. I'm just lining up all of these tiles here, and I usually stick and plonk and just go with the flow, but I think it was because of the lime green, it was making me a little nervous, so I decided to lie them all out, and I knew that I'd be okay with that because they're not overlapping, so it's very easy to stick them all on. And now comes the task of sticking each one on. So I started with one that was kind of central, and then I'm just going to work out from there, and I'm just guesstimating a tiny gap in between them, not too much of a gap. Here I'm just using double-sided tape to stick them down because the watercolor in the background it's very flat, and it hasn't, I know I said to use glue on top of mixed media projects, but it hasn't really got, it hasn't given the paper really any texture. It's very flat. So I'm just sticking these all on, and I'm overlapping some off the edge of the page because I like to do that, and I'm just keeping on sticking them. When I did the doodly borders, I did make some of them like a dashed line, like a fake stitched line, and then others I just did a straight normal doodly line, and then I left some sections, I should say, of the tiles just plain as well. So I'm sticking all of those down, and I have a rough idea of where the photos are going, so I knew that I would have a little bit of space to play with in that top kind of center section. I'm just cutting off all of these bits, and I'm going to try and use any offcuts that I can to fill in any spaces. There's one rather large offcut that I'm able to stick down here, not that one, which is really handy. It's always nice when you can fake it and pretend there's a whole shape there when really it's just a tiny slither of an offcut. So I'm going to stick one of them whenever I'm doing a multiple folio layout and I want to have one that's on a bit of an angle. I like to have one of them perfectly straight and then the second photo just on a slight angle. I think sometimes we can get very excited about doing things at a jaunty angle and we can angle them a little too much. But I have been very guilty of that in the past, but I almost feel like sometimes I have to crane my neck sideways just to look at the photo in some of my older layouts. So I'm sticking that one down there, and I wanted to put this one cool kid because he looks like he looks like a pretty cool kid there. In that top photo, he actually looks like he's doing the sprinkler dance move because he's got his arm out and his hand behind his head. It's quite a good dance move, I think. Then I'm trying to figure out what to do as a title while I'm thinking of this, and because there's no alphas with the collection, so I was going to look through the ephemera pack and the chipboard pack to see if there was a large word that I could use, and I end up going with the chipboard, which matches the previous layout as well. So I'm going through and I'm picking, this is what I like to do with my ephemera packs when I'm doing a layout, is I like to pick any pieces that could work and put them to the side. So then when I'm deciding, I'm not looking through an entire pack of things, I'm looking at a kind of a curated collection of embellishments from that one pack. I'm adding a few stars because I'm a sucker for stars at the moment. Actually, yesterday's videos, 3 out of 7 were star themed, so keep your eyes out for those. I must have been in a very star mood filming this. I needed to add something over there on the right, and I ummed and ahed about where to put the title because I wasn't sure if it should have been at the top or if I should have put it down the bottom, and I'm glad I put it here. Although it did cover up some of the tiles that I had made, I felt like it was the best spot to put it. So I got this little Hey You I'm just sticking on. I love clear stickers because you can put them anywhere, and if you ever don't want them to be clear, you can just stick them on a spare piece of white cardstock, like a bit of an offcut, and cut them out, and voila, they're clear no more. Or you could even stick them to coloured cardstock if you wanted to. Added a bit of journaling, and then I felt like it needed a doodly border, but I didn't doodle over the tiles. I kind of just did a half doodly border for today's one. And then to make it match with the other one, I think I do get the Heidi Shine in a moment. I felt like it needed something up the top here. It was a little bit uneven and a little bit too empty, I guess you could say. So I'm adding a little bit of gold Heidi Shine, and then I think I grab some gold glittery mini tiny little stars from my stash, just to give it, I felt like it needed another type of texture. It needed it just needed something that wasn't too flat, and although the glitter stars are technically pretty flat, the glitteriness of them gives another texture that's not as smooth. So here are the 2 pages. They're all done. I hope you enjoyed this. This was an unexpected double page layout. It wasn't meant to end as a double page, but you got a bit of a bonus today. Make sure you head over to the Cocoa Vanilla blog if you want to see more up close pictures, and I have a feeling there's a few other geometric layouts over the next couple of days, so make sure you check out the other design team members and what they come up with, and play along at home if you want to, if you feel like you need a bit of a challenge to boost your mojo. Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.